Hello everybody and welcome back to NVTV. We are out and about today in this wonderful location of Teresa's pop-up shop and garden. Marsha will be taking you around the garden later on, but for now we are in this beautiful old-fashioned kitchen with Teresa, and she's going to be telling us about her journey and how she came here to this place and everything that it entailed. So do stay with us, for you're in for a wonderful programme. I want you to tell me where your journey began to get here.
Well, originally I had what they call a bricks and mortar shop in Portland Avenue in Glengormley, which I absolutely loved. And I loved the community, and I loved the connection that I made with people. And unfortunately, life and circumstances took over, and I had to change direction and close the shop, which I regret doing, but really at the time it was necessary because I became ill.
You want to tell us about that?
Well, I think like a lot of women my age, we are what they call the sandwich generation, and I became grandmother. I'm a grandmother to two of the most beautiful children that I absolutely love, and I want to be able to support my daughter with childcare in the same way that Stephen and I were supported by my mum and his mummy. And but unfortunately, prior to that happening, my mum was diagnosed with dementia, which is all too common a story nowadays. And my sister that lived with her, Laura, we decided that we would look after her and help. I would help, and that was fine. That was okay. And then, unfortunately, Mum had a stroke, and so her care became very different to even what it was like with dementia. But we were lucky, and if you want to call it that, and we were able to nurse Mummy at home between us, and that was fine. And I think just as a woman, we take these things on board, and we get on with it, and we don't see really what's happening to us. So Mummy unfortunately died, and in the September, and then 6 weeks after Mummy died, my mother-in-law, who I loved to bits as well, fell and broke her pelvis, and that seemed to set a spiral of events happening. And for want of a better word, I could see the signs of dementia there with her as well, but we weren't that. But you do a lot. I mean, anybody that's been through this will go, is it? Maybe it's not. And that was in the end of October. And then the following March, she fell and she broke her hip. So that was two hips and her pelvis, and she never walked again. Oh. But for want of a better expression, the crazy got really, really bad. And it was very, very difficult to navigate. But in the meantime, I was still, you think you just get on with it. I was still grieving my own mum, and Stephen's mummy. We were dealing with that, and actually having to deal with the services that are meant to be there to help you was extremely challenging. And you just keep going on. And it was just another, I think a lot of things in our lives are what you call layers. And I still had the business. I was still trying to navigate having my own bricks and mortar business, but stress was really getting a hold of me. And I decided that I couldn't control the stress of being, that situation. I could control the stress of having my own business. I made the decision that I was going to close the shop, the bricks and mortar shop. I couldn't see any other way out of it. And I also think then that my body was telling me enough was enough. And I got a viral infection And that's the only way I could describe it. But I think it was my autoimmune system and my body was just shutting down. And so it took me nearly a good 6 months to sort of start feeling any way better again. Right, yeah. I closed the shop at the end of January, and I felt quite ill. And then whenever I did close the shop, I just kind of shut down. And I also think that a lot of it was mental stress as well.
Oh, of course.
But I think we women think that we're invincible and we don't see the signs that are screaming at you. And but I still had all the products from the shop, and I had planned to keep going online, and that just didn't happen. It just didn't happen in the way that I had hoped it would. And then the lovely Elaine from LMV got in contact with me, and she asked, would I be interested in having doing this collaboration with her? And it was a lifeline for me. It was just, and it allowed me to get back out there again, and the connection and the community was just fantastic. So it was. But I knew that I couldn't always keep on doing the pop-ups. And Stephen came up with the idea of building the studio for me in the garden. Plus as well, he was working with the head. He was really fed up with all the stuff from the shop taking over the house. So this was a method to get that all out of the house and to claim our home back again. And Stephen built me the beautiful studio in the garden.
Hi Teresa.
Hi Marcy.
It's lovely to see you today, and thank you so much for inviting us into your home and your beautiful garden. So we're actually, Teresa, going to go from here up through the garden, and you're going to give me some information of how this beautiful place all came about.
Well, these are dahlias and they're tubers, and then perennials. And then we have a bed here that is mostly all annuals, and I grew these from seed. And that's probably the first year I've had such a good year of growing them, and they've been fantastic.
What a beautiful show.
They have been.
What's this one here called?
That is called Cosmos apricota.
Right.
And this is a Cerinthe. There's some straw flower and annual dahlias as well.
So they look like they're a terrific one for spreading. A spreading plant,
they get quite bushy,
yeah.
And they will flower until, most annuals will flower until the first frosts.
Yeah.
And then you kind of just, you start all over again. But
of course,
they definitely earned their place in the garden this year. I have a man that understands me. I mean, everything that I do, he understands that this is not about making money. This is about me feeding my soul. And so even with the garden, I will come up with these ideas. My brain literally never switches off. And he hits the words, Stephen, I was just thinking. And he goes, oh dear God. What is this going to mean for him? But he does it. He helps me. He helps bring them to fruition. So he does. He's built the raised beds. We started off basically where we're sitting. Used to actually be the backyard, and we built this onto it. And the garden just was lawn from straight out through the doors. It was lawn right down to the bottom of, and it's quite a lawn, thin garden.
And as well as that, I want to say, isn't it wonderful in life to have a man who understands? No disrespect to males, but sometimes they don't fully understand. Would you agree?
I would agree. I don't know that he fully understands me all the time, but I do know he's a man that loves me.
Oh, that's so important. Yes.
You know, yeah. I think a lot of gardens, and anybody that gardens would agree with me, that you garden as and when you have money. Mm-hmm. And I would always recommend to somebody, if they have a fairly big space, is to break it down. Don't look at it as a whole, because it can become overwhelming.
Right, yeah.
And just take a section, and you can go to a garden centre and you can spend quite a few £100 on plants. And if you spread them all out in the garden, you kind of go, oh, right, where where did they go? Whereas if you do one section, you can get real impact.
Coming along now up to your studio. And this is the area here that I like, because we can also have a nice cup of coffee.
A glass of cava.
As you do. And it's little seats. Now the little seating areas begin. And this is where, when people come, on the days that you invite these people to come, is a Friday and your Saturday.
Saturdays, yeah.
They can take advantage of all this
Yeah.
around them, buy whatever they
want.
can purchase plants if they wish to do that. And we're going to move up and we're going to go into this fabulous studio that I believe Stephen, your husband,
He built that as well.
how long did it take him to do the studio, to build that? It's a masterpiece, I have to
It
say.
maybe took him a couple of months, but he is very particular. And we do think that if you're going to do a job, do it well.
Exactly.
And he takes his time over it, you know.
Yes.
And then obviously it had to be painted, and then he built the little deck area around the outside.
I like how
of
that's done, and then you can put all your plants and all along here.
And the little white stones and the paving stones are new from you were here too.
Yes, I noticed
Marcy.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what sort of a look have you tried to create in the kitchen?
My background was in interior design.
Design, yes.
Yeah. And I would always say to people, do not follow trends. Trends come and go. And especially in interiors, if you do something or you're creating something, it costs a lot of money just for it to be trendy or sort of like, oh, this is what's in. My advice was always, if you love it, then that's how you make that decision. Always pick something that you love, you know, and it will stick with you, and it'll stay with you. I love, as you can probably see from the open shelving in the kitchen, I love serveware. I said about that in the studio. I love dishes, and that comes from my mummy. So I think there's things that you don't always realise it, but things influence you. That
They do, yes.
I mean, I love cooking, and that came from my daddy, who, you know, back in the 60s, only cooked on a Sunday. He didn't cook any other day. It was just a Sunday. But Mum and me always had to sit at the table, and Mummy always had to set the table, you know, and that's, I think, a lot of these things have influenced me as well.
You resonated right down. Yeah. You've got a beautiful display of glasses there, absolutely gorgeous. And are some of them so original that if you broke one, you wouldn't be able to get a replacement?
Yeah. If I broke them, I would be actually devastated.
Earlier we were chatting about your father and your grandfather, and just over here there's a beautiful set of china that your grandfather brought back from
the Far East, or the Orient as it was called back in the day.
Yes.
My grandfather was English, and he was in the army, and but he was what they called a career soldier. So he was in both the First and Second World War, and actually we have photographs of him, and he was in the Africa campaign. So I love old photographs of you know, and he brought this back. This is my grandmother's prized possession. You didn't have things like that back in the day.
Right, absolutely.
And it was in a china cabinet for years, and then it disappeared, and then mum put it back out again. And I don't know, maybe my mum, there was 5 of us, and maybe my mum saw in me something that she didn't see in the others, and she said to me, do you want that? So I could hardly get it out of the china cabinet quick enough to get it home. And I love it. And I love, you haven't actually seen in the rest of the house, but I love Oriental inspired decor. And I think that is what influenced me, the figurines on that tea set. And the colours are just, they're beautiful, just stunning.
And so original, you know, lovely, so delicate to lift, they really are.
You can't actually wash it though. Ironically, you can't, you know, because it actually takes the paint.
Oh, I know.
I think it's painted rather than fired, you know.
Hand painted most of them now. You need to be very careful because something like that is a treasure, really.
Teresa, let's move into the studio that the wonderful Stephen has built here. I just don't know of it. And let's see what you have in
Okay.
your little treasure
I'll let you
trove.
go first, Marsha.
Okay. Oh. Whoa. Lovely. I'm always very lucky when I come here. I'm always able to pick up the plants or maybe a little shirt that I would wear that you do, because it's always something very unique and different that you can't buy on the high street.
Basically, if I wouldn't have it in my own house, if I wouldn't wear it, if I wouldn't use it,
you'll not buy it.
I'll not buy it.
Exactly.
You know, you have to believe in what you're selling.
It's 100%, yes. Yeah. So here we have, is this all your centuries here?
Well, this is this
candles.
Is some candles of my Plum and Ashby, which is one of my favourite. This is a local make, which is Field Day, which is a beautiful range. And this is all things to do with plants and
smells, feelings. Yeah, lovely.
How are things different now than they were, say, this time a year ago for you?
Oh, they're a lot better. I mean, physically and mentally, I feel better. Circumstances haven't changed any. I mean, it's an ongoing situation with my mother-in-law on the dementia journey.
Of course.
And she's at home still, and she lives just round the corner.
Yeah.
And so I mean that's ongoing. But I think because I'm feeling better, I'm better able to deal with it. So I am, and be the support to my husband, to Stephen, that he needs, you know, and to the family, and be the support to my daughter and son-in-law, you know, that they need with my grandchildren. Yeah, so feeling an awful lot better.
What would you say to any woman who maybe would like to do something like this, but are maybe apprehensive?
For our age group, this is very typical. That I'm 63, I've worked since I was 16, and I technically should have been able to get my pension when I was 60, which would have given me a bit of financial independence. I don't have that luxury because the government changed that law. And I didn't have, there were no pension plans in place for me, and I worked part-time as well. But that's the way of it. In the workplace now, nobody wants me. You know, this also allows me to keep being relevant to me.
Yes, that's what I say. A contributing member to our community.
Yeah,
I say that about a lot of older people. You know, they do feel sort of dried up. I say, no matter what you do, if it's voluntary, you're still contributing to the community.
And I think it keeps you, you know, productive. It keeps your brain cells ticking over.
Absolutely.
You know,
very important.
Although in saying that, what the government would like us all to be working in servitude, really, for God knows what age. On the other side of here, I have a little area now that was created just to allow me to pot things up and sort of.
So I'll be purchasing here later and with your advice.
Yeah.
With your advice on what to do and where to put them. Well, you have it. I must say it's a credit to you, Teresa.
Thank you, Marcy.
And every time I come,
always a work in progress.
Enjoy it more. Yes, and I'll come again.
Yes.
It's lovely talking to you
today. And I look forward to seeing you too, Marcy.
Looking at how life used to be, we would have went out down the high street to the shops and met people, and it really was sort of a time of being social with people as well as shopping.
Very much so.
But our high streets are dead now.
Yeah, which is actually really, really sad, because I love shopping. I love to see what it is that I'm buying. I love to feel the sort of quality, and just, you know, like, it's like you take a candle, for example. I wouldn't buy a candle online, because how do you know what it smells like?
Exactly.
I think more needs to be done to keep our high streets alive. And that starts with greedy landlords. I mean, putting rents up. I mean, it's just, I mean, if I speak to people that I know that are still in business, I mean, they are literally working to pay a landlord. The next thing they're working for is to pay rates. After 6 years, I started paying myself £250 a week. But I also invested £45,000 into that business.
Right.
So yeah, I paid myself $250. So it's not always about making money. It's about a culture. It's about community. It's about creating something lovely that as a society that we're proud of our high street, you know, and definitely there's a lot more needs to be done. This has come about because of my own personal circumstances and also being able to think outside of the box. But not everybody's going to be able to do this.
So, how responsible do you think the government is for all of this happening to our high streets?
I think actually there's a certain amount of responsibility by the government and councils and that, you know,
Councils,
and landlords. And I think landlords cannot be taken out of this equation.
Right, yeah.
They are that's the biggest bill that businesses have. I also think as well that maybe our generation, I do buy online. I mean, that part of what I do comes about from me having the online shop. But we as a society need to be more aware that our high streets need they need your support.
That's right.
You know, ultimately at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how many high street shops there are. If people are buying from Team U, from Shein, from, you know, these places that there is literally nothing contributes to our economy.
Right, yes, of course.
Even big multinationals contribute to our economy.
Yes.
They employ people, they pay rates, you know, they still contribute something. But even they're getting less and less now as well. When they pull out of places, that really adds to the demise of the high street too. You know, I feel that we are all responsible for keeping our little shops alive.
All right.
That certainly, Marcia, was a great afternoon.
Fantastic.
And we do hope that you folks have enjoyed listening and walking around with us as well. We want you to join us again for NVTV, where we will have many more interesting guests. But for now, thank you for being with us. And from Marcia and I, it's bye-bye for now.